So, imposter syndrome is a very common thing in academia. Do you have any tips for people to deal with that?
Yes. So the first thing I would say is to think about where you've come from, how far you've come. And so that's something that I often do when I'm feeling like a phony or feeling fake or feeling like I don't belong somewhere, is I think about all the challenges and struggles and things that I've, went through along the way. And in those moments I felt like I could never make it out of it, and yet I did. Or so many goals that I set for myself and I wasn't sure if I would be able to reach those, and I did. And so I just try to, go take myself back to those spaces, and then, having good supportive people around you to remind you of those things is also very helpful and is needed, especially in academia and in, higher education and dealing with in competitive spaces. And so that's my first tip, is to just think back, where you are right now. Think about all it took to get to that point. And so celebrate that and celebrate your accomplishments, and just enjoy that for what it is, and know that you do deserve to be at the table. And then the next part that I'm going to say is not probably the most common advice that you hear when people talk about imposter syndrome, but for me, I would say embrace it. Because for one of the things that I did by embracing is that it allowed me to take a look at myself and look at my own strengths and weaknesses. And so I began to list out, these are the things that I'm really strong at. So in research, there are some spaces where I'm very strong, and I know that that's my strong suit, and I spend a lot of time in those spaces. But there are other aspects of like certain projects or certain things that I do where I just don't have a clue, or I might know a little bit, but not as much as my colleagues may know. So what I decided to do is to use that information to first, celebrate my strengths and celebrate what I bring to the table, but also acknowledge the fact that there might be some spaces where I need to network and collaborate. And I think if you just look at science overall and research overall, it's one of those spaces where you can't work alone. You can't do good science in isolation. So you have to always be constantly networking and collaborating. So use it to your advantage then. So know, okay, these are spaces where I'm really good at, and knowing, okay, it's okay. There are some spaces where I'm not the best. That's fine. And I think sometimes we want to feel like we have to be, 100% at every aspect of what we do, but that's just not realistic. So I think once we start embracing the fact that there are some things that we're really great at, some areas where we could probably use some more assistance, then you embrace that and you go out and you find those colleagues, you find those mentors, you find those people that kind of can fill those gaps. And then the good thing is that it's returned, because then I'll have my colleagues who say, I'm really good at these things over here, but not so great at that, but LaTrice is great at that. So let me call her up and see if she wants to collaborate. So, and even those moments are, validating. So I think when you use it to your advantage and really take the time to know, what your strengths are and build up the security within yourself, then it makes it a bit easier to know, like, I'm not going to know it all, and it's okay for me to call on people, and it's expected actually for you to collaborate and network. And especially like when you're writing grants and papers, it's going to be weird if it's just you on all of that. So so I think it's just, so I think I try to embrace it and fit it into the context that we're in. But it does get discouraging at times, because it's hard to feel like you're on 100% of the time and that you're always on top of your game. So of course, as with anything, some days will be better than others. But I think just keeping that memory, keeping on file all the things that you've done to get to the point of where you are, and just embracing your strengths, embracing your weaknesses as well, or areas for development as well, and working on those, but also knowing that you can collaborate as well and network with people, and you should. And I think also, it's just, it's just so important to just, take the time and just, sometimes I think there's not enough of us who say, especially like as women and minority women, there's times where we don't really just tell ourselves like we are lit. Like we do a lot, we bring a lot to the table, especially in the science space, and just the different ways of thinking, innovative ways of solving problems. And I'm just thinking back, like, through my career, and thinking of women that I know, or just really a lot of people that I know in this space that bring so many unique things to the table. And sometimes I don't think we always appreciate it because we just feel like, oh, it's just our perspective. But then we start talking with people and they're like, wow, like that's something I've never thought of. And so you don't realize what you bring to the table until it's brought to the table. And then, people are like, wow. So I think sometimes it's okay for us to do like a humble flex and just pat ourselves on the back, know we deserve to be where we are. Know that there's always room for growth, but that's for everybody, even for people who are the most confident. There's always room to do things better, and to know that calling on other people and networking with other people, that's a part of what we do. And shouldn't be seen as a sign of, weakness or not knowing certain things. And it actually creates a lot of great diversity and innovation of thought when you do that. So just embrace it, and like some days will be better than others, but just always tell yourself you lit. So yeah, that's my advice.
That's awesome. Thank you.